Thank you so much, Ted, for that very kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today. This, I have to be honest, is the first time that I have been able to attend your conference. This conference always, unfortunately, comes toward the end of the state legislature's regularly scheduled legislative session. Not to say that they don't join us in Albany from time to time throughout the year, sometimes surprising us when they turn up outside of the regular session. But the regular legislative session runs January through June, this year June 20th. So it really is a pleasure this year that I was able to sneak away. I have to say, looking out, that this is a conference that puts the attendance at Albany-based conferences to shame. This is really an amazing turnout this morning. I think it's really a testament to all of you and the dedication that you and the programs that you work with bring to the table in serving the most vulnerable among our vulnerable populations. On behalf of Governor Cuomo, I send his regards as well and extend his gratitude to you and to your colleagues who could not join you here today for all of the work that you do day in and day out. Nearly everyone in this room has been witness to the personal transformations that occur when people are provided with not only a place to live, but with the sense of stability that comes with having a home. Not only given responsibilities, but given the tools that they need to meet those responsibilities. As most of you know, New York State has more supportive housing units, over 46,000 of them, than any other state in this nation. New York City in particular has been in the national forefront in the development of permanent supportive housing units. Many of you have spent your entire careers developing innovative supportive housing programs for homeless single adults, chronically homeless persons, individuals with disabilities, including mental illness, chemical dependency, and HIV or AIDS, homeless families, and more recently, unaccompanied youth, victims of domestic violence, and people with developmental disabilities. Your persistence and dedication in this work with all of these vulnerable populations is admirable and worthy of recognition, so I suggest that you all give yourselves a hearty round of applause this morning. As you know, Governor Cuomo, too, has long been a leader in the development of supportive housing programs, and that is something he continues to do as governor of this great state. When he was Secretary of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, he developed and implemented the Continuum of Care, a comprehensive strategy to address homelessness, which is the largest federal funding source for supportive housing. The governor also recognizes that there is a lack of quality, affordable housing, especially in New York State, and that too many New Yorkers are forced to commit too large a share of their household budgets to housing. It is currently estimated that 2.9 million financially insecure households are paying over 30% of their income on housing alone. To help address this, the governor has committed to preserve and create 14,300 affordable housing units. The House New York program, which is included in the governor's 2013-14 state budget, initiates a comprehensive 5-year, $1 billion commitment to invest in accomplishing this goal. As evidenced by a number of my colleagues in state government who are participating in workshops at today's conference, the state of New York has made a commitment to supportive housing that cuts across all state agencies. Not only has each of the state agencies that are represented here today made a substantial investment in the creation and operation of supportive housing programs, but during Governor Cuomo's tenure over the last couple of years, there has been an increased focus on collaboration efforts among all of our agencies to ensure that we not only have housing units, but the individuals in them are receiving the services and supports on an ongoing basis so that they can remain in stable housing. A number of today's workshops will highlight the collaboration not only among state agencies, but federal partners, local partners, housing developers, not-for-profit organizations, and service providers, all of which bring to the table the necessary pieces to make this a full picture. One of the most exciting collaborations has been through the Governor's Medicaid Redesign Team's Affordable Housing Work Group. That consists of state and city agencies, housing providers, not-for-profit and for-profit housing developers, and service providers. I must add that Ted Houghton is one of the most dedicated and hardworking of our members of the Affordable Housing Work Group. The Medicaid Redesign Team recognized the importance of the social determinants of health on health care spending and quality of care as well as outcomes. Chief among these is housing. The Medicaid Redesign Team is using Medicaid to provide additional funding opportunities for supportive housing. To date, the Medicaid Redesign Team's housing work group's recommendations have resulted in a total of $161 million of additional investments in state resources being allocated to a range of supportive housing programs over the past 2 years. Much of this funding is being used to fund new innovative pilot programs that will provide supportive housing for high-cost Medicaid recipients who would otherwise find themselves in nursing homes, temporary shelters, psychiatric centers, or other more expensive and, more importantly, less appropriate settings. Last fiscal year, $75 million was allocated for this effort, and that covered a range of activities, including new construction of permanent supportive housing units, rental assistance subsidies, and supportive services. Nearly 5,000 households were served as a result, a significant first-year accomplishment, but we are certainly far from done. In the current state budget, a total of $86 million has been allocated. This includes new allocations of capital funding of $23.2 million to New York Homes and Community Renewal and $13.2 million for the Homeless Housing Assistance Program, as well as the creation of several new pilot programs. The increased collaboration among state agencies and the added investment in supportive housing development and operation are significant accomplishments. They really build on the partnerships at the local level that all of you have developed, nurtured, and fostered over many years. Still, we recognize the success of our efforts will ultimately center on how well they serve the needs of homeless youth, adults, and families. We all know that formerly homeless persons who live in supportive housing are able to achieve housing stability, resulting in increases in employment and income, decreases in emergency room visits, relapses into substance abuse or mental illness, and fewer interactions with law enforcement. I'd like to take a moment just to share one example of the transformational power having the right supports in place can have in a person's life. And I'm sure each of you, as I'm speaking about this individual, whom I'll call K.A., will also think and reflect on the people they have seen and they have helped to transform their lives through the power of stable, supportive housing. So K.A. is an Army veteran. He was living on the streets for years, dealing with both substance abuse and mental health issues. A few years ago, he entered a substance abuse treatment program in the community of Bath. For those of you who are not familiar with Bath, we'll have a brief geography lesson here. Bath is located in upstate New York, beautiful part of the state, in Steuben County, which is in the southern tier. After about 6 months, K.A. ended up in Albany at the doorstep of the Albany Housing Coalition. He had no income, a really massive child support debt, anger management problems, and he had absolutely no connection with any friends or family. For the next 2 years, K.A. lived at Vet House, run by the Albany Housing Coalition, a 12-unit SRO for single veterans. With the help of on-site counseling, he was able to begin to address his anger management issues. The Albany Housing Coalition also helped K.A. find a full-time job, but because his income was being so heavily garnished due to his child support arrears, it was very difficult for him to envision the prospect of moving into independent housing. The Housing Coalition arranged for an expert in benefits administration to assist in getting his child support order modified and making his child support arrears payments more manageable. And as a result of that, KA actually reconnected after years with his daughter as well as with a brother. With the Shelter Plus Care Voucher, our veteran KA transitioned to permanent housing with continued support services in 2011. We checked in with him recently. He continues to be employed full-time, has earned increases in pay, and is moving up the ladder with his employer. And he's also recently been nominated and honored as Employee of the Month by his employer. So he no longer has a Shelter Plus Care Voucher because his income now exceeds HUD guidelines, which I would call a success. He's paying market rent, he's meeting his child support obligations and his other financial obligations every month. Even more importantly, KA remains clean and sober, has successfully managed his anger, and he has continued to stay in contact not only with his daughter and his brother, but he has also reconnected with a number of other family members. So that, to me, shows the power of what the right services and supports on an ongoing and consistent basis can mean for someone who struggled for so many years. Governor Cuomo and all of my partners in state government are working together on increasing the availability of supportive housing so that we can have more and more stories every year like KA's. But we know that we can't do it alone. Only through the continued collaboration with the nonprofit and private sector, with other levels of government, can we achieve our goals while most efficiently and effectively utilizing what are unfortunately often very limited resources. The work that you do individually and collectively every day is truly life-changing, transformational, essential work, and the state of New York is committed to continuing our partnership with you in doing so. Only by bringing all of our collective knowledge together can we continue to make advancements in the field of supportive housing. On behalf of Governor Cuomo and on behalf of all the staff at the state's Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, I want to thank you truly for your partnership. We look forward to working with you in the months and years to come to bring supportive housing to more individuals and families throughout the state and help them to transform their lives. I'd also like to thank Bill and Ted specifically for their leadership of the Supportive Housing Network of New York. They have been tremendous partners in helping us to advocate at the state level and at the federal level for the needed resources so that all of you can continue your work. So thank you again for the opportunity to be with you here today. It really is my pleasure, and thank you for your work.